Hello, um, this is Waleed. I'm just going to show you how to go about using Scratch, how to get set up with Scratch, and just how to start using Scratch to help students. So just go on a browser. Make sure you have Flash Player enabled on your browser because Flash is very important for the Scratch programs to run. So um, first site we're going to go to is coding.space. And basically the coding space is a startup in New York which focuses on helping little kids learn how to code. And so they have this website where um, they give guidelines on how to go about developing coding skills. So the first thing that I just want to bring out over here is what these three things are. So Scratch is a program um, that essentially doesn't teach you how to write code, but what it does teach you is how to work through algorithms and how to go about um, uh, telling a computer what to do. What I mean by this is that it doesn't make you, as I'll show later, it doesn't make you actually write code, but it gives you blocks that represent code. And you basically have to organize these blocks to go ahead and run some program. These programs tend to be a wide variety of things from games to quizzes to animations. So students can get as creative as they want to with that. And it teaches everything about loops and conditionals, variables, everything. And over here we have WooFJS, which is a step up from Scratch. So instead of just switching around blocks, what WooFJS is a program specifically made for students who have done Scratch, um, where they use a modified form of JavaScript to go ahead and start actually writing code. And it's based directly off of a lot of the blocks that Scratch has. So this helps students go from learning about algorithms using Scratch to actually writing code using WolfJS. And web is just for students who want to learn HTML. Um, but I'll be going through Scratch since this is the thing that most students start off with. Um, so if you just click here, you're redirected to this page with a bunch of projects, and these projects are organized in levels with increasing level number, meaning increasing difficulty. Um, and essentially, a student is expected to start off from level one, and then they go up to level five eventually. Once they've completed all the projects, they should be ready to go onto Wolf. Um, but yeah, what I'll be going through in a little bit is using Scratch. So but to get to Scratch, you can just click on this link over here. Or you can actually just search it on Google if you'd like. Um, Scratch is made by MIT. Um, I'll get back to this, but I just want to show you the general website. So if I just click here, you have various projects that people have done. There's all kinds of things, from small games to like more complicated games. Basically, you can do as much as you want to on Scratch. Of course, it's not some sort of scientific tool by any means, but it's a great place to start. So I would suggest getting everyone to join Scratch, and it goes through a process to sign up. If you have a single email account for all the students, that'd be great. You can just use the same one, or they may have to make some sort of temporary email account just for this. But yeah, just to show off what Scratch looks like, I'm just going to click on Create over here. And you're given this cat, this plain background, and nothing else. But there's a sort of tutorial that you can go through to basically get yourself acquainted with Scratch. Um, it tells you how to do different kinds of things. It's very self-explanatory, um, so students can go through all of these options and learn and figure out um, what they are. Um, but I'm just going to show a general way of how the Scratch even works. Let me just make this bigger. Um, so over here, we're given a sprite. I mean, I can go ahead and delete the sprite. I can add a new sprite. Let's just pick. Let's pick this basketball. All right, so we have a basketball. We want the background though, so let's go ahead and pick a background. Well, we have a basketball court. So great. So we're given a court. We're brought to this backdrops page. As you can see, there's different tabs. Um, Students can modify backgrounds. They can get rid of backgrounds that they don't care about. So for example, I had two backgrounds. And that's important because when you're making multiple levels of a game, let's say, each background would be a particular level. Um, but yeah, this is if they want to modify anything here. So if they want to put some sort of like little guy over here, I don't know, whatever they want. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so they can do all of that stuff, but basically the way they're going to work with this is with the sprites themselves. So each sprite you can move around wherever you want, but they have some sort of position in space based on a coordinate grid. So the coordinate grid, it starts off around in the middle somewhere, basically around this area here. So you have these coordinate numbers here. Anyway, but each sprite over here, you're basically going to take some blocks and then just um, move them into the space here. So move 10 steps. Um, so I can just click on move 10 steps and it'll move as shown over here. But let's say I want to make some sort of animation with this. So I want to, let's say, increase the amount it moves by. So I can increase this number, 15. Maybe I can make it rotate, you know. So if I click on this, it's moving in another direction. So it's rotating as well. I can make it glide to a certain position if I want. I mean, you can test out all kinds of options and see what you want to do. But that's for motion. Motion deals with everything dealing regarding the motion of the object itself. Um, you have events. So events is basically like how do you want the program to start. So if let's say I wanted to start whenever I click flag, it's there. I can click the flag and it'll move a little bit. Of course, I've only given two commands to do that once, so of course it won't do much more than that. But let's say I want to get rid of that. I can just click on the stuff below it and move that, and then I can push this back here. Let's say I want to do it when it's when I press the space key. I have it there. I'm pressing the space key. Great. So it's whenever you want. So let's just say I'm gonna put it here. All right. Looks, you can go ahead and show something. You can hide something. So if I go into hide, it's gone. All right, but go back to show. And of course, you can combine this with other blocks that you can fit into here to go ahead and do something. So I can, for example, we can do that, and then we can show again. It happened almost instantaneously. That's why you don't see it. But regardless, you can basically modify the appearance of the object on the screen with looks. In control, this is where you have a lot of loops. So for example, if I want this to happen forever, I can just click and drag there. It fits. So I can click on the flag. It'll continue to do that over and over again. So this is where like a lot of the continuous action can occur. So if I stop this, and go back to looks, I can go to, let's see, I can put this here. So basically it's like an open free space. I can put this anywhere I want. But I go back to control, I can also have waiting. So I can wait, I can put this here. I can hide. Let's wait 5 seconds and show. So I'm just going to click the flag. It's going super fast. Okay. That means I have to go ahead and make it wait a little bit. So let's wait 5 seconds here. So let's click this flag and let's go. Okay, so that means I have to actually show this thing. Okay, great. So if the object disappears, you can just go back to looks, click show, and I'll go back to normal. But let's do this. Do this. Let it run. It moved, and it waited. It showed, and it's gonna keep doing that over and over. But I can modify how long it takes by changing the commands. So if I don't like what I'm doing, I can go ahead and click show. 1 second. Click show. And let's say I get rid of all of this stuff. I can wait 5 seconds, and let's say I can change X by 10. So let's go ahead and do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should change. It changed. It moved a little bit by 10. So yeah, basically you can use these however way you want. You have if statements, else then statements. I'll just go through some if statements. So let's say if let's go over here. This if something happens and you have to fit something over here, you can go to different blocks, and if you see over here, you have these diamond shapes. They can fit into particular places. So if let's say if touching color, let's go to this over here. I can click on this place, and it's going to modify what color I'm touching. So if it's touching here, let's say I just clicked over here, it's going to touch that color. Then I want it to, let's say, forever move in this way. Okay, so I can go ahead and click this. Nothing's happening because it's not touching that color. But let's say I was over here. It'll move because it was touching that color, and it'll continue to do that as long as this condition is met. So we can stop that. So that's basically how you would use an if statement, and it's kind of intuitive in the sense that you have these shapes that can go into particular other shapes, and you can always get rid of them, of course. But once a student is able to play around with these different blocks, they can determine, you know, how to go about making whatever object they have do whatever they want. So you have sounds. You can actually add sounds here. You can download sounds. You can record sounds, and they'll play. The sounds will actually play. And you have different ways to modify how the sound is played. We already went here, but just to explain what this is more clearly, sensing is to help the player or whoever is using this to determine what is the object's interaction with other things in this space. So if I'm touching the mouse pointer, if my object is touching the mouse pointer, then I can command it to do something. That's if I put it into something like an if loop. I'm sorry, an if statement. Or if it's touching a color, or if it's a certain distance to my mouse, or when something is pressed, and so on and so forth. So basically, these are things that help you determine the conditions. Pen is with regards to coloring things, but that's not something that's used very often. But basically, you for projects in which the student can